Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube. Look, man, we got another beautiful video here today. Just make sure that y'all do your due diligence. Smash that like button. Let's get this thing to 20,000 likes so we can crack the algorithm right in the head. You know what I'm saying? But look, hopefully y'all been having a good day. Just know if you're going through a tough time, we're going through this thing called life together. So you're never in it by yourself. Go ahead, subscribe. 60% of the people that watch this channel still aren't subscribed, and we're growing every day. Just join the tribe. Look, positive vibes only. Don't believe everything that you see in these videos. I'm not trying to convince you of anything, but you know, there are messages in these videos, and just pay attention or you will get lost in the sauce. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful video right here, man. It's a message in here. Hopefully y'all see it. I've tried to tell y'all before and it came true, but you know, let's get to it.
Some believe movies are simply a warning of what's to come.
What domestic threats are we talking about?
There are a variety of scenarios, not the least of which mass attacks on the homeland, at which time it will become necessary to protect the majority of the citizens against the minority of the extremists.
And who defines the term extremist, sir?
That would be your commander-in-chief, joint chiefs of staff. That fits with your approval, Lieutenant?
Perfectly, sir.
Very well. Local law enforcement will be undermanned and outgunned and unable to stop armed gangs or militia. Every man, woman, and child in America will be looking to each and every one of you and everyone under your command to restore order.
The sustainable population of our planet is no more than 500 million.
And we're willing to kill 7 billion.
Well, most of those lives aren't worth living. Massive humanity in Africa, India, China, and in squalor. They'd be better off dead. The world would be better off without them.
And America will be first.
Yes, well, as our friend Henry Kissinger said, a strong America is the only thing standing in the way of a new world order. We have foreign troops on the ground now, under the UN banner. The country only needs a little chaos.
The American people are resilient. What's to come if the citizens rise up?
Yes, well, when parents see their children starving, families hauled away to FEMA camps, imprisonment or worse, then yes, we expect some resistance at first. But the vanity of nationalism will quickly fade. The people will beg for help. Any help. These are but the birth pangs of change. Birth pangs of a new world order.
The most powerful banker in the world just died, and when you study his family, it becomes clear why people can't afford homes and college. The story goes back to the 1700s and a banker named Mayer Rothschild. And he made an amazing discovery that there was more wealth lending money to governments than individual people. And to stay with me, because this will explain why Gen Z can't afford anything. Rothschild would have 5 sons who he would send to 5 different countries across Europe to start central banks: Germany, Austria, England, Italy, and France. And by the early 1800s, the Rothschild family was funding both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, which was the real World War I. And funding both sides of wars would become part of the business model. Well, Napoleon would be defeated at the Battle of Waterloo, and the Rothschilds had gotten the news before everyone else. They knew that England won the war. Well, they start selling off all their English war bonds, and they make sure everyone could see them do it. And when everyone saw the Rothschilds selling their bonds, they started to sell theirs. They assumed that the Rothschilds had information that England was going to lose the war. And when everyone started selling their war bonds, the Rothschilds bought them back for pennies on the dollar. And later that week, when everyone else found that England won the war, the Rothschilds basically owned the country. And as Nathan Rothschild said, "Give me control of a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws." The business model had become to get governments and people into debt. And when the Rothschilds saw a young America, they saw opportunity. And in 1816, they found their way into American central banking with the second bank of the United States. And your money would be worth even less today if Andrew Jackson hadn't come along and saved the country. He started what are known as the bank wars. He balanced the budget, paid off America's debt, and ended the charter of the Second Bank of the United States. And although an assassin was sent after Jackson, he would miss both shots, and Jackson would proceed to beat him with a cane. And that's why Jackson is on the $20 bill. They're mocking him, and they're mocking you and me. But 77 years later, the Rothschilds would take control of the American banking system with the passage of the Federal Reserve Act. That's what this book is about. It gave a small group of powerful bankers a monopoly over the printing of the American dollar. And for every dollar they print, they're paid back at interest. This is why the 16th Amendment was passed that same year, 1913. It established the federal income tax for the first time in American history. When they print this money, they get paid back at interest with our tax dollars. And there hadn't been a federal income tax for the first 137 years that America was a country. And these taxes go to paying back the bankers at interest, not the roads and the military like everyone thinks. It's usury, debt, interest. It's how you steal the wealth from the middle class of a nation. And they love the wars because they're getting paid back at interest. But every time they print that money, they're stealing from the future. It means your money's going to be worth less. It's why they had Lyndon B. Johnson push the Great Society, which made mortgages and college loans available to everyone, which was great for the boomers. But every time they took out those loans, it meant the price of housing and college would go up, up, up. So now no one could afford housing, no one could afford college without going into debt. The business model has always been to use usury to steal the wealth of nations, to control governments, and to control people.
Continues to reveal who he worships. As we can see, Grok, his artificial intelligence, got a new logo. And for those who do not know, this is clear Saturn symbolism. And go figure, this new logo was released during the festival of Saturnalia, which is a Roman pagan festival that is celebrated between December 17th and the 23rd. Now, something interesting here is in the Roman mythology, Saturn was an agricultural deity who was said to have reigned over the world in the Golden Age. I guess it's just a coincidence that Mr. Golden Dawn continues to speak about how we are going into the new Golden Age.
I proudly proclaim that the Golden Age of America is upon us.
Well, it makes sense why Trump has the black cube on his tower, or the black cube at the front entrance, because the black cube is a symbol of Saturn. Now, the reason why the black cube symbolizes Saturn is because there is a cube on Saturn. Apparently, there was a storm, according to NASA, that goes around constantly that makes this cube. And this is why you will see black cubes or black squares throughout our society, and why when you graduate, you wear the black cube. And as we can see right here, when Donald Trump and his daughter and son-in-law Kushner met with the WEF, we have the black cube in the center. Now, I guess it's just a coincidence that on the winter solstice, right in the middle of Saturnalia, we had Elon Musk retweeting this, which is an image of the universe placed in a black cube. So with this symbolism right here, he is giving homage to Saturn. Now, something else to add here is how Saturn was seen as the god of time. And also with this cube, it also represents the matrix per se, that we are inside this box. And that Saturn is the god of this box that we are in, which we can see right here, the universe being in the shape of a square. Now, if you do not know by now, Saturn is Satan. Now let's continue with this black cube symbolism, as we can see right here at the 9/11 memorial, which the memorial is a literal black cube pit. Now what's interesting is when you go to Revelation 9:11, and they had as a king over them the angel of the bottomless pit. I guess it's just a coincidence that the 9/11 memorial has a square that looks like a bottomless pit. Now, the name of this angel is Abaddon in Hebrew, but in Greek, he has the name Apollyon. Now, we can see Apollyon means destroyer. And we can also see down here that Abaddon, mentioned in Hebrew, is translated to destruction or the place of destruction. And coincidentally, to the occult, the Statue of Liberty is Lucifer, the light bearer. So as we can see right here, we have Lucifer, the light bearer, in front of the 9/11 attacks, which there is now a bottomless pit there, symbolically. Now, there's some interesting things about Donald Trump's $100 million penthouse, which his penthouse is on the 66th floor, and we can see here the art that he has. I'll read down below, but we have classical art dominates here with a bronze statue. Interesting, a bronze statue makes me think of Daniel. Eros and Psyche, one of the great Greek love stories, and Apollio, kind of like Apollyon, right? Led by Aurora, the Greek goddess of the dawn. The golden dawn, guys, come on. Suggesting Trump sees himself in the mold of Apollo, Zeus's son. And as we can see right here at Trump's tower, we have this upside down triangle with 6 trees on each side. So we have 6, 6, 6. Again, you can see right here, 6 trees, 6 trees, 6 trees. And I guess it's just a coincidence that he loves to show off this hand sign right here, which we saw right here, him showing it off in front of the WEF and the black cube. Now, there is opposing opinions to this hand symbol right here. Some believe it is the as above, so below symbol of the triangle. You have the idea of this being the divine feminine, which is symbolic to the woman reproductive system, and that this divine feminine hand symbol symbolizes the moon child being birthed or the Babylon working. But now you can do your own research on this all. But now let's continue on some more cube Saturn symbolism, as we see here with Operation Warp Speed, it being a cube. With the World Ahead 2025, The Economist magazine cover, we had the Saturn symbol right at the top with Mr. Golden Dawn in the center. And by the way, this idea right here is a picture of a beast, because we have the 2 eyes, so we have the eye there, the other eye here with a radioactive symbol. We got Donald Trump as the nose. We have a mouth right here, but right here for Saturn, right there is on the seal of the forehead. This is symbolic of the mark of the beast, the seal of Satan or Saturn on the forehead, like we as children of God are sealed on our forehead with God's name. Now, clearly, The Economist loves Saturn because on their new Christmas Devil issue cover, we also have Saturn. And again, we see the symbolism here with Stellar, which is a cryptocurrency that has the Saturn symbol that looks a lot like rock. And then we also have the X logo, which when you do this, when you mirror it, the duality, it creates the skull and compass, which is also like XRP, which is another cryptocurrency that they will use for the beast system, which has the as above, so below symbolism. Now, just so you know, this X symbolism is not just Masonic, but it's also traced back to the Osiris is risen symbol, which they make with crossing their arms to make an X, like we see right here. I mean, of course, Mr. Dark MAGA himself loves the letter X. Now, one last thing to add here with this new Grok symbol is how it looks like the Ouroboros, which is the snake eating itself. Now, this Ouroboros symbol can be traced back to Egypt and Babylon, and this symbol is associated with the primordial serpent, Sata, like Satan, Saturn. This is the serpent from the garden. And these individuals worshiped this deity who protects the world from cosmic enemies, because you need to understand that to the occult, they believe that the serpent in the garden was the good God. They call him Prometheus or Lucifer, the light bearer, he who brings the light, bringing light of knowledge of good and evil to free humanity away from that tyrannical God of the Bible. And this is why you will see so many cultures worship the serpent. It all goes back to the garden. So with this all being revealed to you, I pray and hope that you can see that these 2 guys right here are not on your side. They are high-level occultists who have their roots deeply embedded with the mystery Babylonian religions. And they are deceiving the whole world to usher in this new golden age. As we can see right here, how Saturn has everything to do with this golden age. Please do not be deceived by these 2 individuals. They are operating off of the Antichrist spirit, which, just like the deception from the garden where the serpent whispered into Eve that you shall have freedom and liberty, you shall be like God. And these 2 individuals are selling the same deception, that you shall have freedom and liberty. But in reality, they are bringing your own enslavement and bondage through technology in this new golden age that will be controlled by AI. The new Tower of Babel 2.0, uniting everybody together with Starlink, Neuralink, the blockchain, the internet, and the World Wide Web, capturing humanity together in a rebellion against God, which these 2 occultists right here are leading the rebellion. Do not be deceived.
What are you going to tell your children 20, 25 years from now? What did you do, Grandpa? What did you do, Grandma? During the greatest transformation of motherfucking wealth in the history of the world? What did you do? Other than sit on your fucking hands. What did you do to take advantage of the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the planet? What did you do? Not a fucking thing. That's what you're gonna say. Not a fucking thing. Because I was too much a coward. I was too much a weenie. I was too much a fucking cunt. When I say cunt, I mean coward. I didn't do anything. And that'll be your regret.
You want to know what's crazy, man? It's a lot of deception in this world, you know. I was telling y'all about what I told y'all XRP at like 30 cents, 50 cents. Now currently, you know, it's at like $3. It was at like $3.20 something cents. And it's gonna go a lot higher into the thousands, I think so. And it's just crazy, man, that people don't do their research and find these things to be true. Don't be deceived. A lot of people was hating on the Bitcoin people that got super, super wealthy and became billionaires off of using probably $100, $50. Could have got you a lot. Think about how much Bitcoin is now. Over 100,000 a Bitcoin. If you had $100 and you had 100 Bitcoin, how much money would you have? But people would rather, you know, put their money in other places. But it's cool, man. You live and you learn. Some people are going to miss it, like the people that invested in Apple and Microsoft. Technology is always changing. The world is not coming to an end. We've had many resets, but the world is not coming to an end, y'all. Stop living in fear and live your life, man. Start thinking outside of where they're trying to keep you. You're going to miss opportunities.
In the school system, they don't want us to learn about money because they just want to pump out good employees that do what they're told. I mean, if you look at school, it's opposite of what it takes to be successful in real life. Don't make a mistake. Do as you're told. Take tests by yourself. Don't cooperate. Do it by yourself. Do it on your own. And there's only one right answer. No, there's tons of answers to a problem. So you come out of school scared to death of making a mistake. You do everything on your own. You don't cooperate. There's no synergy. There's no brainstorming. And there's only one right answer. Everybody wants to get the right answer. There's no one right answer. So I think people come out of school paralyzed. I think the school system is criminal in that it kills a child's spirit of learning. You know, a child goes into school all excited about, yeah, I'm going to learn and it's going to be great. And then the teacher says, sit down and shut up.
Told you what at school? That if you're being bullied, what?
You can't go home and tell your parents.
Why?
It could cause the parents to go to the school with weapons, and they'll end up with someone with their life gone, taken away.
So this is what they're telling y'all in middle school. To not go home and tell your parents that you're being bullied. Right? That's what they're telling you?
Yeah.
Stop calling them that. You're not allowed to label people like that.
What?
Stop it, Diego. We're not going to call them that. We're going to call them MAPs. Minor attracted persons.
No.
So don't judge people just because they want to have sex with a 5-year-old.
A little thought experiment. Who do you think is a bigger problem in the United States? Illegal immigrants and gay people, or billionaires not paying taxes, corporations price gouging us so we can't afford food, and investment firms buying single-family homes so that they price us out of being able to buy a home? Which one do you think is the bigger problem? I'm so confused how the top 1% in the country convinced poor people that other poor people are their biggest problem.
I really think it's a coincidence that Trump is declassifying all of this information on JFK on January 23rd.
Sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy.
It just so happens that it's a 5-year delta to the date, January 23rd, 2020, when 17 dropped 3783, which said the public would learn the truth.
Everything will be revealed.
But I guess that's just a coincidence, right? And speaking of JFK, ain't he the last president since Trump to be sworn in without putting his hand on the Bible? But again, that's just a coincidence, right? And you think the sword fighting and the Z dress Melania was wearing was just a coincidence? Where have I seen that Z and that sword before? Now you guys are thinking with me. The truth will shock the world.
So am I late to the party? But why am I just hearing that the whole entire world, and I mean the whole world, is out here protesting for us, rallying for us? Now I know before whatever happened with TikTok, I was seeing just about everything, every single thing. And I'm not seeing things now because I'm seeing a lot of things, but I don't see that. I honestly tried to search a couple of things and it still didn't give me those videos. So maybe, like I said, once again, maybe I'm late to the party. But is the whole world protesting for us? And if they are protesting, because I keep hearing this, I haven't seen any footage. I just want to know what they're protesting for. Like, what are the protests about? What's the reason for the protest? Because I haven't seen anything. I just see on my FYP, the world is protesting for us. The world is protesting for us. Somebody send me something and let me know what's going on, man. I'm out.
All day, every day, therapist, mother, maid,
Look, y'all, I don't think all of those people are marching for us. I think they're marching for their own reasons and stuff. My opinion, y'all let me know. Have y'all been seeing? I was looking like, oh, what are they communicating? I don't think it's that. They're talking about their own issues too. Every country has their own issues.
Get in here, all.
But we should be prepared for announcements, and I'm gonna keep telling y'all, like I've been telling y'all, there's a lot more coming.
Oh, this just came in my inbox. And one of my viewers was like, Getty, you need to explain this because something weird about this. And I'm looking, and I'm like, what's weird about this? And he also donated $1, and I greatly appreciate it. But I got to go into this in great details. But if you like to donate $1, I greatly appreciate it. But watch what Trump did for the so-called Black Americans and the secret behind this so-called 14th Amendment. Excluding Indians. Us, which is us. Trump administration questioned Native Americans' birthright citizenship in court, right? Why did Trump do that? Let me show you. Now, I did not know between the 1866 Indian Peace Treaty, the statement that the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment are considered the second constitution for African Americans, which is Indian, not taxed, right, is largely accurate. So we got our own amendment. So Trump went to court, was like, hey, these are Native Americans that had birthright, right, citizenship. Let me tell you, you can't be a citizen and indigenous at the same time. We only indigenous. This is why Trump went to court to say, hold up, no. These are immigrants can get deported. So when ICE come get you, throw your hands up and don't run and comply like you told us. So this let you know that we are the indigenous, excluding Indian not taxed, which is us. So if you like to donate $1, I greatly appreciate it.
But you know how they think that's gonna go over at the world. That's why currently right now too as well, he's trying to alleviate everybody from paying taxes in the first place. So it's gonna get shadowed with that kind of. What y'all think about it? I don't know.
So now you're telling me that there may be more to the renaming of a body of water than meets the eye. Yes, so if you know what I talked about on my previous video, you know that I had a conversation last night with someone that is very in the know, someone that I trust with my entire life. We went through cancer recovery together, so I trust this source. So we're also going to hypothetically and allegedly talk about this because that's what this page is. This page is all about expanding our minds and thinking outside the box because that's fun. So hypothetically, let's say that a massive meteorite or possibly a mode of transportation struck the Earth millions and millions of years ago, causing mass destruction. But when said meteorite or hypothetical mode of transportation crashed into the body of water that has currently been in the media, where did it go? Obviously, it's at the bottom of that body of water. But what is inside of this hypothetical meteorite or mode of transportation is a mineral and a substance that is unfathomable to all of us on how much it is worth, the value in it. And the fact that the previous government, that the name of the country that is attached to this body of water, never had the resources or the money to retrieve what is below. So now, all of a sudden, it seems like out of nowhere, that body of water is all anyone can think about, all anyone can talk about. And perhaps that what is there and all of the recent activity, alleged drones and orbs and weird weather patterns and everything that's going on is all interconnected, because that is at the bottom of the body of water is what is attracting and is what is causing everything. So we have a government that wants it, a species that hypothetically is protecting it. Does this all make sense to you? Now, everything I say is for entertainment, education, learning, and conversation only, because I want to know what you guys have heard, what you think. Have you heard this? Drop it in the comments. Let's open this.
What is that?
That can we run that way?
Hang on. What on earth is that? Someone else shooting out in front of it now. There's two of them. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh my god, guys, you are looking... I don't know what you're looking at. Look, they're UFOs. If ever there's an unidentified flying object, that's that.
Can we go that way? Can we go that way?
There's two of them flying next to each other. Oh my god, you guys, I don't think you realise how lucky you are to even witness something like this. Look at them.
Oh my god.
What is that?
Can I quickly go that way a bit?
Yeah, go where you want, mate.
I'm running over. But I'm on the golf course. Can't I run over like really close? That can we please go check?
These 25,000 barrier in between. Get your coffee.
You guys, if you drink Starbucks, watch this.
That you get your coffee in at Starbucks. Let's talk about those. A paper cup, by nature, should absorb water. If it's not absorbing water, then that means there must be a barrier in between the paper and the liquid. And that barrier is polyethylene plastic. A study found that in 15 minutes of contact with hot liquids, leach 25,000 microplastic particles into your cup. But no one's questioning this. No one's really thinking about it because it's just part of our daily lives. Are we very good at metabolizing plastics? No. Plastic is a foreign body. It's a foreign particle. In fact, it'll break down into nanoplastics. And nanoparticles in general have the issue of being able to penetrate cell membranes. So it can penetrate very deeply into the cell. It can cause inflammation. Your body doesn't know how to deal with it. It's a foreign object. So you'll get the inflammatory response when you encounter these. But to make things worse, the microplastics themselves are a foreign body, but they also release plasticizer chemicals when they're in contact with your body. And they can also carry toxic chemicals into your body. The fact that they can basically invade and integrate into our cells, and you are what you eat. Are we turning into real life Barbie and Ken dolls? We could be, because there's actually microplastics that have been detected in human lung, blood, and placenta. And who knows how much of this is getting into babies? Are babies being born with plastic in their bodies? I would guesstimate yes.
Raided the Phoenix facility in hazmat suits as part of a multi-state investigation into the illegal trafficking. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400. A leg about $1,100. They'd even sell knees and feet alone for under $500. And sale of human body parts. He said he found a cooler filled with male genitalia, a bucket of heads, arms, and legs, infected heads, and one of the most disturbing findings, called a morbid joke in the lawsuit, a small woman's head sewn onto a large male torso like Frankenstein and hung up on the wall, with no identification tags on the bodies. Were treated with dignity and respect, a promise written on their own consent forms. The company also accused of selling body parts for profit after saying they'd only raid, and what he recounts...
A secret shielded by cardboard and silence. When the FBI raided the Biological Resource Center in East Phoenix 5 years ago, while in the fall, the company collected bodies of people who died under the gun.
The FBI
Charter City is stunned by the sudden rollout of Rook Unlimited's most fantastic device ever. The Smart Mark. Throw your other devices away, because the Smart Mark is more than just a phone. It's part of you. Use it as cash. Book your travel. And even shoot video. Distribution points are all over the city. And don't let the lines discourage you. The Rook Unlimited Smart Mark is worth the wait. I never realized how wonderful technology could make me feel. The Smart Mark has brought order to my life. And the best part? It's absolutely free. A gift of thanks to our city from Rook Unlimited.
23% of the population has been given the Smart Mark, number 1.
Time to test our system, number 6. The Flex Fighters are...
Ain't nothing free but that like button, y'all. Ain't nothing free but that like button. Go ahead, smash it.
Don't say you weren't warned. MasterCard and the United Nations are joining forces to monitor the carbon effect of your credit card purchases. And then you'll hit your carbon max, and it'll stop working. Hey, of course it's voluntary, for now. The new credit card is called Doconomy. And on the back of the card, it's going to say, I am taking responsibility for every transaction I make to help protect the planet. This is a social credit score, and it's a proof of concept. The Doconomy CO2 credit card website claims it is the largest initiative ever taken by a bank in educating its users on the impact of consumption. They say themselves they want to set a global standard for carbon calculations. That's the key. Once they have their numbers in place, then they can give every single purchase you make a score and punish you directly. This is what China does. And of course, this will only be enforced on you and me and any businesses that don't go along with their scheme. And banks are going to enforce it.
Hold up.
I didn't think I would be waking up to abject biological horror today, but here we are. The brain organoids, the tiny human brains that we can grow in jars, have been released for commercial processing access. If you're not familiar with these guys, they are human brains that have been grown from stem cells, and they have brainwaves very similar to a premature baby's. I am not kidding. The limitations on their use and their growth seems to be hypoxia due to the fact that they're a disembodied brain and don't have a circulatory system. They can be attached to a computer chip and have better processing power than our most advanced AI. A Swiss company, Neuroplatform, is debuting their biological computer chips and giving access to private citizens to use the processing power of the brain organoids. While there are 16 brain organoids to a chip, they're maintaining thousands of them. They also have
Now that's concerning too. You want to know why too? Because we know that they use melanin too. They're trying to use melanin in these things. That just made my stomach hurt. That's made my stomach hurt. I ain't even got words for y'all.
Mouse and rat brain organoids, but they explicitly used human brain organoids. There have been some advancements in being able to keep them alive longer, including keeping them in a media that's oxygen rich, and shaking them, they live about 100 days, so they will constantly need to be refreshed. As for the company, you personally can get access to their computation. It is going to run you about $500 a month if you're in education. I am frustrated. This is brand new technology. It is pretty spooky. Those are functional little eyes that can perceive light. They are immature human brains. They have all the structures that a human brain should have. They're just never reached that point in development because, the lack of a circulatory system. But scientists are doing their very best to make them bigger and more complex. At what point are we going to bring ethics into the equation?
So given the state of the world right now, I feel compelled to share with TikTok something I don't talk about very often because it makes me sound insane. And I don't know if it's real or not, or what it is. But basically, since 2013, me and my husband have essentially been talking to something on a Ouija board that goes by the name of Seven, who has been telling us that the world is going to end May 27th, 2025. And I have pages and pages and pages of our correspondence with this thing. Like pages and pages and pages. And I have it here raw, just what I've written down, and I have it on Google Docs. In Google Docs, it comes out to like 80-some pages. And I should preface this by saying I'm a normal person. My husband's a normal person. We have jobs. We're not witches. We're not Satanists. We don't do stuff like this. We started this as for fun in 2013, July 2013. We had nothing else to do. We got on a Ouija board for fun, and it just kind of took off from there. And we have continued to talk to it. And I should also say,
like how she just like tried to casually slide that in there, like that's some shit to do when you bored. That's wild. What the hell are we doing?
We're not like super smart people, right? We're
Obviously
not like geniuses, but this thing kind of seems like it is. Let me show you. So it does stuff like speak in binary. By speak, I mean, it's giving us ones and zeros to write down on the Ouija board. I'm recording this, and in the moment, we have no idea what this means. We Googled it later. This is, again, July 2013. And it turns out it's binary, but it's backwards binary. So in this way, it meant nothing. But when we reversed the numbers, it meant hello, because it does that a lot. It speaks backwards a lot. This is where it gets really crazy. So this was, I guess, the day before, because we got kind of addicted. So it speaks also in backwards languages that we don't speak. We don't speak it forwards. We don't speak it backwards. This is, I believe it was Latin. I believe it means salutations or something like that. I have all the details in my Google Doc. But this is kind of the way it speaks. It is coming, fire, yes, stop it. A lot of mysterious stuff, a lot of spooky, weird stuff. This is where it gets really weird. We've learned through all this communication that according to 7, there are 5 groups. We are the third contact. Contact 1 failed 24,825 days ago. So from this date, we did the math, that comes out to August 6th, 1945. That is the date that the first atomic bomb was dropped. So my husband knows a lot about history. He doesn't know the exact date that the bomb was dropped. He certainly doesn't know he can't account for leap years. I mean, he's good at math, but he can't do math like that. It's perfect. Math is perfect. He can't do stuff like that. I can't do stuff like that. So the fact that it's a perfect more than once, I'll show you other examples here, is really scary. It's scary. It goes on to say contact 2 succeeded 18,534 days ago, which was August, I think that's 17th, 1962. I think that had something to do with JFK and the Bay of Pigs. I'd have to look at my doc. But historically, contact 3, that's us, fails 29,149 days after contact 1. 4,324 days in your future, which is May 27th, 2025, which it later says. And then, here's some like ancient Sumerian thrown in there just for fun. Again, had no idea what we were writing in the moment, but we later looked it up and kind of broke out the letters and realized we'd written down things like, referencing the mountain or mother goddess, reach the mountain in Sumerian. And again, we're not historians. We don't know anything about the ancient Sumerians. We, watched some Ancient Aliens and stuff like that, but I don't know what this is. I don't know what it wants. I don't know. And again, there are so many pages of this. And I'm happy to share them with whoever might be interested. I don't talk about this much with people. We have in the past, when we get a few drinks in us, and we're with people that we think we can trust and who won't think we're insane. We have shared this with people. They either kind of wave it off, they're like, oh, that's cool, or they pretend, they say they're interested, but then they never really follow up and say, hey, I'd love to.
Well, that's because y'all is crazy as hell. Let me know in the comments down below if you at the crib doing dumb shit like that. I'm just asking for a friend so I can know who I'm talking to. That's it. That's all, y'all. I'm not judging.
I'd love to see those. Can you share me on those docs? I don't know. I don't know. Let me know. Help me save 7. Thanks for listening.
Alright, so that's the Osiris Temple in Egypt layout right here. This is a computer chip. This is going to be another computer motherboard right here, and this is the Mayan pyramids in Mexico. That's because all these ancient civilizations were highly in tune with energy and they knew how to harness it. This lady's using a computer right here. Here she is again typing on it. This is a computer all day. All their temples are laid out like CPU hard drives and computer RAMs. You can see right here these dots on the inside of this blueprint. That's going to be the capacitors inside your computer board. So again, these are 4 temple blueprints back to back to back. These are all ancient electrical grids. You can see right here on the side of the temple, you got these cylinder columns right here. These are capacitors, right? They store electrical energy in the temple. They're going to be the same capacitors that are on all your circuit boards right here on the left and up here on the right, the 3 of them next to each other. All their temples were laid out using sacred geometry, harmonic resonances, and magnetism, okay? And they poured all these structures on site. They found the chemical formulas to match sandstone perfectly, and they were able to form these stone structures, mixing the mud right there on site. Every single one of the pillar columns that are inside the temple right there and on the outside of these walls act as integrated circuit chips, right? These are what the columns are. That's the support column right there on all your temples. We're gonna look at this history of architecture right on the outside that form that circuit right there. This is one of the articles in it. The pyramid right here lines up perfectly with a computer chip. Here's your computer chip for reference right here. And here's another ancient aerial view of a civilization. This was all lined up and laid out to allow the electrical flow to run through these cities through wireless, local telecommunications, whether it was through water, sound, electricity, magnetic fields. This is how they powered these cities. This is another temple in Egypt. The blueprints right below it. You can see the pillar columns are going to be those dots right there. The pillars are ionic pillars. They all will hold a charge. And that's why every single ancient structure is held up by pillars, and that's how they were powered. Each column contains quartz, and when this force is applied upon these pillars, it generates a voltage or electricity. This can be used to store information inside these pillars, the same way we store data inside quartz crystals.
It's the whole city. Okay, you guys, I'm kind of freaking out, and it's hard for you to see it, but if you look closely at the city, watch, all of the lights are gonna suddenly start blinking. Do you see? It's throwing me off so much. I hope that you guys can see it through the rain. Look at that. Do you guys see that?
Working erecting 5G masts and towers like the one behind me for the past few weeks while everybody else has been in lockdown. And we don't crack open these kits because we're explicitly asked not to. But well, perhaps the best thing is for me to show you. It's best if I just show you. Look. It's a piece of 5G kit and it says COVID-19 on it. I don't really know of any products produced by any company that produces circuitry like this that has the brand name COVID-19, but that's what it says on the circuit board. Not a conspiracy theorist. I've read all that stuff online about coronavirus and COVID-19, but why are they putting circuitry like that in towers like that? Just don't understand.
Raided the Phoenix facility.
Do you believe that I have a lab tech that worked in an all-women's hospital in the United States who went to school for 4 years for parasitology, so she does have an understanding of parasites and what she is looking for? The results that she was finding in these women coming in with UTIs, urinary tract infections, was showing parasitic larvae. She was putting them in her report, and the doctor of the lab was removing them from the reports. So these women with urinary tract infections was never getting properly diagnosed in the United States. See, they're not allowed to tell you if you have parasites. No, the CDC and HHS does not allow that. Because if you actually found out what ailed you and got cured, got the proper treatment, you wouldn't need your doctor. You wouldn't need your big pharma pills anymore. She will be part of the documentary to blow the whistle on what the truth is. Parasites are very common, and most people have them. Some of the symptoms of parasites that most people don't know is gastrointestinal issues. So we're going to say things like IBS or IBD, Crohn's disease, colitis, appendicitis, cholecystitis or gallstones, kidney stones, thyroid issues, hyper and hypo, diabetes, cancer, brain fog, your heart rate fluctuations up or down, or both, your teeth breaking, your bones breaking easily, blood pressure.
With a touch of a button, the battle begins. On the ground, chemical cloud seeders begin to work the two storm areas. Robot planes seed the clouds from above. The storm centers over Kansas and over Labrador intensify as seeding continues.
Now changing over to Hurricane Center HE.
The fury of the hurricane mounts as 100-mile-an-hour winds lash the sea to a foaming frenzy.
All stations, Sector C. Activate Phase 2 Control Plan Delta. Set vapor rockets for 42,000 feet. Execute.
As an emergency measure, the controller calls for a salvo of vapor rockets to be fired ahead of the path the hurricane is predicted to take. These artificial clouds will block the sun from evaporating more water to feed the hurricane. The reports coming into the control center indicate that the diversionary cloud seeding over Kansas is now creating a flood danger. Specially equipped robot aircraft are dispatched immediately to release a high concentration of cloud seeding material into the fringes of the storm. Heavier seeding from the ground also helps to subdue the rain by spreading it over a wider area. The controller calls for another view of the hurricane, which has now moved closer to the coast.
Have you been wondering what was in that chemical fake fog that was covering half the world before the next PSYOP started? Well, it turns out people have been testing the clumps of leftover crap from it, and it's actually loaded with trillions of parasites. Some of the symptoms of a recent infection are UTIs, respiratory infections, pneumonia, and meningitis. Pretty interesting that there's been a rise in cases of pneumonia recently. This is actually considered biological warfare, and they've been put in there because they know parasites keep you sick, which is of course why it's suppressed by Rockefeller medicine. What a surprise. So if you live in one of the areas that had the fog, I would do a parasite cleanse ASAP. They're coming at us from all directions. The air, our food, the sky, God knows what else. And it's up to us to change the terrain of our body to help us detox from all this garbage. This is for entertainment purposes only. Consult your Rockefeller indoctrinated medical professional for medical advice.
It's not an overstatement to say that I learned virtually nothing at Stanford Medical School about the tens of thousands of scientific papers that elucidate these root causes of why American health is plummeting and how environmental factors are causing it. For instance, in medical school, I did not learn that for each additional serving of ultra-processed food we eat, early mortality increases by 18%. This now makes up 67% of the foods our kids are eating. I took 0 nutrition courses in medical school. I didn't learn that 82% of independently funded studies show harm from processed food, while 93% of industry-sponsored studies reflect no harm. In medical school, I didn't learn that 95% of the people who created the recent USDA food guidelines for America had significant conflicts of interest with the food industry. I did not learn that 1 billion pounds of synthetic pesticides are being sprayed on our food every single year. 99% of the farmland in the United States is sprayed with synthetic pesticides, many from China and Germany. And these invisible, tasteless chemicals are strongly linked to autism, ADHD, sex hormone disruption, thyroid disease, sperm dysfunction, Alzheimer's, dementia, birth defects, cancer, obesity, liver dysfunction, female infertility, and more.
Well, damn, look, man, at the end of the day, the way that you look at this video right here, it's showing you something, man. I think a lot of people are going to be misguided because of indoctrination, and they're tricking you out of your position once again. Like with the whole investment piece, they have a lot of people think that cryptocurrencies and stuff like this and technology is a form of control, and you're going to be manipulated. You want to know what they were doing? There was a lot of smoke and mirrors. There was a lot of things going on when people should have been invested in Microsoft and Apple and Facebooks and stuff like that. Those people are super wealthy right now. People are missing out on opportunities because you're indoctrinated. And guess what? You're going to be sitting in the same situation, and your bloodline isn't going to be able to make it financially because you're not making the right decisions, because they have you in a perpetual state of fear and doing your own thing. There's a different reality of life out here, and you can tap into it. You just have to change your mindset, be aware of your surroundings, and try to do the right things to get to your goals, and stop listening to everybody's, negative opinions about things that can potentially change your life. You have to watch for people that want you to be just like them, want to be at the same level as them, which is, a lot of people, most people aren't living their best life. Let's just be honest, because it's a multitude of things. It's because people are following each other right off that cliff because they told you that you should be living your life a certain type of way. What I've noticed is, on my climb, the people that are making it are doing things that aren't popular to do. Most people are doing everything that's popular to do. Everybody's copying each other. That's not how you're gonna make it out. Copying and being in fear because you can't make up your own mind, and that's what's wrong with the United States right now. Nobody could think for themselves, and that's why I do these videos, to get our minds active and to get us thinking for ourselves and creating for ourselves. And hopefully y'all got something for this video right here, man. If you're not picking down what I'm putting up, I hope I said that right, but look I see y'all in the next video. And like I said, spread love, because there's too much hate in this world. Love you guys. See you on the next video. And I'm out though. Bye.